All right, good morning. Happy Monday. It is July 6th, and I wanted to say hi and welcome. And this is our first Monday training for the month. I hope everyone had an amazing June. I know we've all been chatting, and I've seen you all on the Wednesday and the Friday training, but I want to say good morning to everyone. Today we are going, well, let me kind of backtrack a little bit. So I made the schedule, or Kyle and I made the schedule for July. And today I wrote down SMART goals. So, and I know Kyle, I sent you a little bit of notes last night as to what we were kind of going to talk about, but something that I do, and you all know this, I'm very much a planner and that kind of thing, but so June is over, which means we're moving into the second half of the year, right? We're moving into the third quarter, so to speak, of the year. And I don't think this year has gone according to anyone's plan. We'll just say that. Regardless of how you thought your year was going to go, I can almost guarantee this is not how you assumed it was going to be. So with that being said, I kind of wanted to start by really diving into something that I do, which is, I know I talk about planning, and I know I talk about reverse engineering and time blocking, and you guys have all, for those of you that have been here for any length of time, have heard me talk a lot about that. But I wanted to really kind of dive into really what that means for me and why it is that I do that. And there's a hashtag, and I know it may sound silly, but there's a hashtag that I use all the time, and I have for several years, and it's the words live by design. And for me, we hear these catchy things, and we're like, oh, laptop lifestyle, and like all of these things, right? And it's all like, it sounds great, but if the reason that I use that hashtag, and the reason that that's something that I've always strived for, is because for me, living by design means that I'm designing my life. It means that I'm creating the life that I want to live. It means that I'm not on the default. Again, 2020, we're halfway through the year. I think many people are now realizing whether it was that you got to homeschool your kids, whether it was that your job, if you have a day job, had you, start working remote. I think a lot of people, not even in NAVAN, but a lot of people in our world are realizing that there are other options out there. I've talked to, I'm friends with a lot of people in other network marketing companies. I love this community, and I'm not someone that's like, oh, you're not with my business, I can't be friends with you type of thing. So I have a lot of friends that are in other companies, and they're happy there, and that's fine. But I'm telling you this because I've talked to a lot of people that grew their businesses in the last couple months exponentially because of a few reasons. Because one, I think a lot of people are seeing the value in working from home. A lot of people are realizing that they can't always count on their, original plan of generating income. Maybe a lot of people were forced to work from home, or they needed to because their kids are not homeschooled or whatnot. So I think another reason for this is because we've had time. And not everyone's the same, right? This is just, again, my opinion, but I think that those of us that were already working in network marketing didn't have sports and car lines and running, kids around and like doing all of the things and activities. Like, we've just been home. We've been bored in the house and in the house bored, right? We've been working our businesses, and it's shown progress. It's, when you have time to work on your business, it obviously grows. So a lot of people are realizing that their maybe side hustle, or whatever that verbiage is something that they want to pursue and they want to work on. So the reason I'm telling you this is because, not in Florida, but in a lot of places, the world is opening back up. Florida is shutting back down. So that's another whole story. But I'm sharing this because I just want you to, as you're going into July, again, right, we're into the second half of the year. I want you to maybe take a little bit of time to look at your last month, to look at your last 6 months, and to realize, and to, I guess, get a visualization as to when your business was progressing forward, when it wasn't, where your mind was at in those times. For me, this is important, and it's why I track things, and it's why I write down quarterly goals, and it's why I am so, I hate to say the word preach, but I talk all the time about, painting your vision and seeing what your life by design really looks like for you. But I guess it's a time halfway through the year where we kind of just realign. We, look at what it is that we're actually working towards. We focus on our why. And I know that term why gets, you know, kind of trite, and we hear, oh, what's your why? And if you didn't listen to the training that we did last month, the beginning of June, on creating your why and your 7-level why, and really kind of writing your story, I'd encourage you to go listen to that again. But it's a time where I reflect, right? And it's for me, going into the second half of the month, it's another time for me to, again, realign and focus on what it is I want my life to look like. How do I want to design it? Because for me, that's one of my biggest whys, is that I'm able to design my own life. I get to choose what it looks like. I get to choose, you know, that question when you go into an interview, what does your life look like 5 years from now? I get to decide that. And that's one of the biggest things in network marketing. I think that you know, we see here time freedom or more money or, you know, financial freedom or all these things, but essentially at the core of it, it's that you're getting to pick and choose what your life looks like. So do you want your life, as the world is opening back up, to go back to what it looked like pre-corona? And I know we're all sick of hearing that word, but just bear with me here, right? Do you want to go back to what it was like prior to all of this? Maybe, you know, 5 months ago or so. Have an honest conversation with yourself and write it down. I encourage you to. I'm not asking you to share it with anyone or to post it on social media, but think about the habits and the trends that you've had in your business. If you've been successful or if you haven't, not everyone's goals are the same. I totally get that. As a nurse, even, I always looked for leadership roles. It's just, I think, not that I'm good at it or anything, it's just where I flourish. I know there are a lot of people, let's use moms just because that's what I'm relevant to. There's a lot of moms that enjoy being stay-at-home moms. They enjoy that. I absolutely enjoy that. But for me, I'm a better mom. I'm a better friend. I'm a better everything when I feel like I have a greater purpose. My children obviously are always my first purpose, but for me, I had a time period where I wasn't working. I had left my hospital job before I started in network marketing, and I was not my best self. We'll just say that. I work best when I have structure and when I have goals and when I have you know, that purpose that I'm striving for. So again, I know that the way that I do things, that I'm learning this more and more as I'm getting older, that not everyone has the same design that I do. My design is to have goals, to achieve goals, to constantly be reaching for something. And it's just how I work. It's how, you know, my brain works. And I guess, again, I'm learning that not everyone is the same, but this is, again, what works for me. So I can never be a stay-at-home mom. I purposely feel like I have to have that purpose. I need to lead. I need to work. It's in me. So if that is something that's not in you, then that's okay. But I think a lot of people have that maybe guilt. There's a lot of people, I know when I first started network marketing, my husband and I had a conversation at the time, and it was one of those things where he's like, why can't you just be a mom? Like, cause he wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom, right? And it didn't fulfill me. So if that fulfills you and you are just looking for an extra $100 a month and that's why you're on this call, then that's fine too. But if you're not and you're looking for more, I would encourage you to really dive in and to think about where you were at before and where it is that you're wanting to go. There are some people on this call, and myself included, that went to school and got a degree and maybe had student loans. Maybe you have a little bit of guilt because you feel like you're not working, you know, in what your degree was. Or maybe you borrowed money from your parents to get started in school, and now you have this 4-year degree and you don't want to do that anymore, right? There's things in us that lead us to do the things that we do, right? But if it's not your design, it's not your design. So I'm sorry for that little ramble there, but so I'm a nurse, right? And I have a nursing license, and every 2 years I have to take CEUs. I say I have to. I get to take CEUs, continuing education credits, and I renew my license. I haven't used it in 6 years. I haven't worked in a hospital, right? But I renew it because, well, I like the CEU part, actually. I like learning about healthcare and things of that nature, but I went to school and I got the degree. So anyway, I want you to really focus on what it is you want your life to look like, though. If this is your quote unquote side hustle and NAVAN is just a way for you to generate an extra income, then that's fine. Your design is probably not going to look like what mine does, right? But you're not the expectations, you know, of your spouse or your family or your parents or your degree. If designing your own life means that, then that's fine, right? But if it's not what you want, then I'd encourage you to kind of dive in a little bit deeper. All right. So, you know, just again, focus on what it is you want, focus on where it is you're wanting to go, and the other half of the year. And again, we can't always, I've seen so many memes and things that are like, oh, good thing I bought a planner this year. You know, how many of you have seen those things? So I realized the first half of the year did not go according to plan. And sometimes that's fine, right? Sometimes it aligns things. Again, you know, going back to the fact that so many people are doing really well in network marketing now, even outside of NAVAN. I'm seeing, you know, a lot of my friends and other people that are in different things, like celebrating each other and celebrating their businesses and the growth that they've had. And I really think that this time has helped us enroll new people that maybe were scared to get started before or didn't think they had the time, and also helped us focus on our business. So the biggest thing I want to, I guess, talk about before we kind of get into the SMART goals is it's going to, you know, when you design your own life, you have to realize that there will be sacrifices, right? And what is that saying? The pain of staying the same is greater than the temporary pain of change, right? That I think is something that a lot of people miss. When you're planning out your life and you're designing your goals and things of that nature, realizing that it's not all rainbows and butterflies. Like there will be a little bit of sacrifice, and you will need to, you know, give up the beach for the day so you can live on the beach later, type of thing, right? But realizing that there's something that Kyle told me once, and it was something, and Kyle, I don't know, I'm probably screw this up. I screw up all your sayings, but the point always gets across. And he said something about really focusing on your business for, you know, 90 days to, you know, 3, 6, you know, even a year, right? And really focusing hard on it will set you up and set your team up for a lifetime, essentially, of consistent growth. And it was something that I guess resonated with me because in my mind, I know when I first started in network marketing, my first sponsor was someone who on the outside, I felt worked all the time. Like she was constantly on her phone and she was always readily available. And in my mind, I thought, man, I don't want to work that much. That's not why I'm getting into this. I want to be with my mom at her chemo treatments. And I don't want to have a huge team like she does because I don't want to be constantly on my phone. Like that's not the life that I want to design, right? But what I realized is that she specifically, and this is something that I learned very early on, had time blocks and, you know, would have points in her day where she was always available, but there was a certain time where she put her phone away. And for me, that's something I learned as well. So my mornings are usually, you know, my time. I don't have my phone. I'm not on social media and things of that nature. And as I go throughout my day, I think my team has even gotten to know like when I'm available. I do have like people on the West Coast and in Canada, and like if they message me and it's like midnight because it's only 9 p.m. there, they know I'm probably not going to answer until the morning. So setting up your day too is essential. So I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling here, but we're getting into SMART goals. And I just wanted to preface that because as you go into what a SMART goal is, and I'm going to talk to you guys about this here in a second, I really want you to just, if you don't know the why behind it and you don't know what your vision is for the future and you don't know how you want to design your life, the goals aren't necessarily going to matter as much. Because as I get into what a SMART goal is, it's trackable, it's attainable and things like that. And I'll talk to you guys about that again here in a second. But if you don't know why you're doing it, it's just work. It's just busy work. It's just you checking things off. It's just you tracking things, right? But if you break down what your design is and what you want your life to look like, it puts a purpose behind it. And it helps you realize why it is that you're inviting 5 people a day and why it is that you're making sure that you're adding names to your contact list and all of those things, right? If there's a reason behind it, it makes the process not so daunting. And maybe you're not in that place, but I know for some of us that have been doing this for a long time, as we work our business, the tedious parts can get, you know, adding names to your contact list. And it's like, oh, where am I going to find these people? And all right, I'm going to go scroll on social media and things of that nature. But if you know the reason behind it and you know that you're working towards designing your own life, I mean, just like a house, right? Like there's work to be put in. You can have this great floor plan and this great design and what you want it to look like, but then you got to start laying the foundation. And then you got to start, I mean, like there's a lot. I've built, my husband owns a house flipping business and we've built new homes before. Like there's a lot of things, especially in the beginning, that go into that before the walls go up and before it even looks like a house, essentially. So that's kind of what I guess I really wanted you guys to focus on. And I know that we see, you know, terms like that, especially in network marketing, like, oh, laptop lifestyle and beach money and whatever. Live by design is one that I saw many years ago, and it just resonated with me because that is what I want. You know, it's that very surface level why that we talk about. Living by design and designing my life is something that I personally, that's why I'm in this. I get to decide, I get to design what it is that I want. And those things change, right? Again, you all know my story. Initially, I wanted to be with my mom at her chemo appointments and whatnot, and she's no longer with us, and my design changed, right? I got a taste of what it was to have that freedom and what I wanted my life to look like in the future. So what do you want your design to look like? Know what it looks like. The first thing, again, is sacrifice. Know that the sacrifice is just a season. It doesn't last forever. I promise you, again, it's just giving up the beach for a day or the weekend, right? That way you can, if Tara's on here, I don't know if she's on here. She's one that, you know, pictures herself, and part of her vision is being on the beach with a white towel on her head and a drink in her hand, right? Like, that's her vision. So does that mean that she doesn't get to go to the beach this weekend because she has some spare time to work on her business? It might be that. But again, it's designing your future. All right. So with that being said, July, we're realigning, we're making SMART goals, and you're designing your life. So what is it you want that to look like? Again, the vision is very, very important. If you don't know what a SMART goal is, after this call, again, I'm briefly going to go over it, and then I'm going to kind of hand it over to Kyle, but it's an acronym, right? But it's a way for you to realize we all have goals and we all have, I guess, a vision, right? And it's the actual attainable part. So when you're thinking about your goal and you're thinking about the second half of your month and what it is you want to look like, it's specific, it's measurable, and this is the acronym. It's attainable, meaning it's not like crazy, it's relevant, and it's time-based. So that is what a SMART goal is. Again, there are 101 million YouTube videos out there. You can go Google what a SMART goal is, and it'll give you more information than I'm going to give you here on this short call. But it's a way for you to be able to think about what your goal is, think about what you want your life design to look like, right? And again, that's part of the vision and all of that. Like, if you are, I know that last month when we talked about if your vision is to be home when your kids come home from school or get off the bus every day or whatnot, like, if that's what your vision is, this is the goals that you're going to do to get to that point, right? So for me, it's, you know, I spend an hour every morning kind of planning my day and time for myself. This way I know I'm not on the defense. Just because, again, I know that's what works for me. This is what works for me. It doesn't work for everyone. But if I wake up when my kids get up, or if I get up just before I need to start these calls for my team, I'm now on the defense. I'm now on other people's time clock. I'm now waiting for someone to reach out and need me, and it's not the other way around. So for me, I am, again, a planner. I get up early. This is a sacrifice. I know that, 5:30, 6 o'clock when my alarm goes off, I have to get up, because if I don't, I'm no longer in control of my day. So each day I look at what it is that I want my day to look like, right? And how it is I'm going to achieve that. So when you break down goals and you think about the second half of the year, or the month of July, or even this week, for me, each day I spend 10 minutes in the morning planning out my day, and I spend about 60 minutes on Sundays planning out my week. And that's what works for me. Again, not for everyone. I realize not everyone likes scheduled things, but for me, I schedule everything. I schedule time with my kids, and I don't mean like, oh, it's not your time, I can't have time with you, but for my boys, and this is something that I started in the beginning of the year, each day I have at least an hour where I spend with them. Finn, my younger one, wants to read. My older one, who is 14, does not want to spend time with me. So usually it's me taking video of him while he's doing jump shots so then he can post it to his Instagram, whatever. Like, that's our time together, right? So whatever it is that works for you, for me, I make sure that I have at least, time individually with my kids. One of our summer bucket list goals is that we wanted to watch all the Marvel movies in chronological order. So we've been doing that every night. It's scheduled in my planner because I know that if it's in there, I'm going to do it. And just like, I'm not saying you only have to schedule your business stuff. For me, I schedule my health stuff. I make sure that I'm at the gym. I make sure that I'm walking. I schedule my personal development. It's all in pencil, so I can rearrange things or whatnot. But for me, this is what works for me, is making sure that I'm putting time and effort towards my family, towards my health, towards my business every single day. Because again, I know if it's in that planner, I'm getting it done. So again, I'm not saying that you have to live this timed out type of thing, but for me, this is what works. So SMART goals, specific. So when you hear things like, oh, I want more money, I want more time, I want less stress, I want a bigger team, that is not specific. Specific is an actual amount. So if you want more money, right, in your life, and you want more, let's say, residual income, what is the exact amount? That's specific, right? So when you're planning out your goal, let's say for the month of July, like, what is it exactly? And with our compensation plan, our rewards plan, this is very simple to figure out, right? Because you know exactly what rank you need to be in order to have whatever monetary amount of money that you would like coming into your household, right? If you you want to be Sapphire, right? Or you need $1,700 a month, right? So that means that you need to be Sapphire. This helps you then break down like how it is that you're going to get to that point and what it is you need to be doing on a daily basis to get to Sapphire. So that's the specific. Measurable, again, can you measure it? Is it an amount? That's the M. So again, like, is it measurable? Meaning, so, and when you break that down, like the $1,700 a month, what does that mean each week that you're going to need to put in? How many invites are you going to need to do? How many names are you going to need to add to your contact list, right? It's an amount that you can measure. And for me, this is very important because, again, I can track things, because I can assure you when my business is not doing as well as I would like it to, I go back and I look at my tracker and I'm like, oh, okay. That month I was not, it's like 3 invites a day. Like, Christy, what were you doing, right? And I know exactly why my business is where it's at. So for me, it's very, very important. Something I think is comical, and I know I was talking to Angie about this, I think she's on here, 2 months ago, I wanted to achieve the goal of Emerald in NAVAN, right? And I did not write down in my planner, in my goals, when I was mapping them out for the month, the word Emerald. I wrote down 50,000 in volume. Well, guess what? I was over 50,000 in volume, but my legs were not balanced, so I was not Emerald. And I think this is a very good example of how we need to really focus in on what it is exactly that we want. So this month, I wrote down what I wanted in each of my legs to get me to the goal that I wanted to get to, right? I was looking at, I plan in quarters. So I was looking at the second quarter of my planning in my book or whatnot, and I wrote down that I wanted to be at a certain rank by the end of June. And sure enough, I just reached that rank. So it's funny that I hadn't looked at that for the last 3 months, but sure enough, I'm right on track to where it is that I want my life design, so to speak, to be at. All right, so specific is the S. So very, very specific. Measurable, like, can you measure it? So if you say you want, let's say, okay, so specific, say you want $4,000 a month in income, right? Okay, that's very specific. Can you measure that? Yes, it's a monetary amount, it's a number, right? But you can also measure the things that you need to do on a daily basis to get you there. Attainable, is it attainable? This is very, very important. How many people, come into the business and they're like, okay, I'm gonna be diamond this month, and it's their first month. Especially from a leader standpoint, if you have someone with those huge goals, we never tell someone what their goals should or shouldn't be. Like, we'll help you get there, but making sure that you understand what it's going to take to get to that process, right? Is it realistic or relevant? Is the R. And is it time-based? Very, very important. Again, so if you're saying you want your business to be at, this amount or this rank or whatever, okay, when? And what are you going to do on a daily basis to get there, right? So that's very important as well. So again, I would encourage everyone, if you don't know what a SMART goal is, to please go do a little bit more digging. But it's just a way that I, again, write down, I'm designing my life. I'm doing the things that I know I need to do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis to get me to that point. And for me, it's what I focus on just about every day before all of the other things. There's things that we all know, and growing our business, like personal development, is important to me. I'm doing something really fun for my team right now that they don't even know about, right? I've been building it for the last month or so. But I'm making sure that I'm doing the things that I need to do for my SMART goals every single day before I do those extra things, before I work on personal development, before I listen to a podcast. Those things can be done in the other pockets of time in my life, right? Like, as yesterday I went for a run and I listened to an amazing podcast. I wouldn't sit at my desk during my working hours and listen to those, personal development type of things or whatnot. So again, this is how my brain works. This is how I have been able to grow my business. I know that it does not work for everyone. I'm learning that as I'm getting older and as I'm working with more people and as I'm leading others, because the way that my, human design, so to speak, works is not always the same for everyone else. But for me, this is how I've been able to grow. This is how I've been able to focus on what it is I need to be focused on. And I definitely have some ADD, so it helps a lot in just progressing through that. So Kyle, do you want to kind of take over?
Well, that's kind of hard to follow. I'm not going to lie.
It was like a lot, but yeah.
I had all these notes and I'm like, forget it, which I love it. I love it. I love it. But you guys, this is super important. And, Chrissy and I always talk about, on this call specifically, our Mondays are very, actionable steps, very cut and dry, like, I don't know, step 1, step 2, step 3 type things. And when we were talking about it, this training, I said, no, this is what needs to happen. This is kind of a shift for us, I think. And, really what I think is why it's necessary. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with my words. I mean, guys, we are halfway through this year. That is when Christy told me that yesterday, I'm like, oh my gosh, like for some reason that just smacked me upside the head. I'm like, oh my gosh, we are halfway through this year. And you know what? Goal setting and doing exactly what Christy's talking about right now, and aligning things and mapping things out, and being very precise and very clear is extremely important. And the thing is, here I am, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to talk about a little bit of what we have to do to achieve these goals, no matter what they are, and I know 99% of everything that we want out of our businesses comes from building our business. Right? No matter how we get there, no matter what our goal is, no matter if it's a dollar amount. I mean, there are some people here, and I will back up and say this, that just want the community. And you know what? I hope that we are creating the community that you want to be a part of. Some people do join network marketing companies, something like NAVAN, just to be around like-minded people, to get self-development, to get training and things like that. But I do know for a fact that 99% of us here do have some sort of monetary attachment, do have some sort of life goal with our business, do have, some reason that we're doing this. And being extremely clear on exactly what that is one of the most important things that you can do here. We talk about your why. We talk about, sharing what excites you, sharing your why. Is your why stronger than somebody else's? No. But do you really know what that is? But how do you get there? But how do you get there? We talk about, okay, I can't let the cat out of the bag on something, but you guys will see this soon. There's something that's coming out that I'm going to really talk about all of this, but no matter what that goal is, no matter what that whatever it is, right? Every single person's is going to be a little bit different. When we look at it from day one, and I encourage you halfway through this year right now to look at your goal from day one. It goes back to that statement of how do you eat an elephant? Because sometimes it's really overwhelming. I'm not going to lie. Every goal that I've ever had when it comes to getting where I want to go and using network marketing as my vehicle, it's really overwhelming. You're like, whoa, that's a big number. Whoa, that's a lot of steps I got to take. And that's a big elephant. And it boils down to, how do you eat an elephant? And it's one bite at a time, right? One bite at a time. And I want you to think about this, because nothing great comes easily, right? It's going to take a lot of work. A friend of mine, and I won't give out his name, he's in a different company. He does this amazing training, and guys, if I could ever get a video of it, I promise you I would try and copy it verbatim and learn how to do this training, because this dude is phenomenal at training. But he talks about the 4 things that will make you successful in network marketing. The 4 key ingredients that are the most important ingredients to win. And it aligns perfectly with what Christy was saying. So I'm going off of my notes. I threw my notes out, in the trash as I was listening to her, because they were not going to line up here. And this popped out in my head, and I wanted to share these 4 things with you, right? It's perfect. It aligns exactly with what Christy was saying. So figure out what you want. That is the first one, right? Number 2 is, what are you willing to give up to get it? The third one, which is kind of more or less where I'm kind of coming in, talking about, like, okay, one bite at a time, we got to really break this down. You have to be willing to fail. Right? Because nothing that is great is going to come easy. And then the 4th thing being, you got to be hungry. You got to be really, really hungry. And I know I don't know, it's kind of a bold statement, and again, we can dive into stuff a little more in depth later. But thinking about where we want to go and thinking about what we want out of our businesses, here's what you need to realize. You cannot do this by yourself. I had a talk with Trey, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. Maybe no, it was a few last week. And one of the biggest things that we talked about, because you guys know that my big thing is duplication. And I hammer every single thing I do with this business is running the play. We have one step to grow your business. And there's a reason for that, right? There's a reason I always say this, and there's a reason I teach what I teach. Because you cannot build this by yourself. I don't care if you can recruit 1,000 people. Can your team? Can you duplicate that? Duplication is key. And when we talk about our goals, and we talk about where we want to go, and we talk about how do we eat the elephant one bite at a time, we have to be able to help as many people as we can achieve their goals in small bite-sized chunks in order for us to get to our goals. I don't care if your goal is $750 a month, $250 a month, $25,000 a month, $100,000 a month, whatever it is, it's okay, right? Whatever, that's your goal. And we have to be able to we have to be willing to do what it takes to get there. But I will promise you this, and you guys have heard me say this a million times, is the secret to network marketing is to get a large group of people to do a few simple things over a consistent period of time. And all of this sounds good, but none of what I'm saying even matters if you didn't listen to the first part of what Christy was talking about, of mapping things out and really setting down the time to figure out, is it a SMART goal? We've got to block this out. We've got to be clear. We have to be concise in everything that we're going to do to get to where we want to go. But then how do we get there? Right? It takes the action. Yeah, Christy and I could teach you every single thing about how to ride a bike. Right? I could give you a book on physics and a book on aerodynamics and a book on gravity and a book on a bicycle and how it works and the manual, and we could give you every single thing and tell you precisely how to ride a bike, but until you sit on the seat and start to pedal, you'll never figure it out. So when we talk about this being halfway through the year and saying, okay, where are we? Are we where we want to be? Are we on track to go to where we want to go? And if not, no big deal. Who cares? Start out. It's day one. That's the beautiful thing about network marketing, is it doesn't matter what you've done or haven't done to this point. You can start fresh and nobody cares. Like, nobody cares. Where else does that happen? Like, you could have this lifelong career and have a bad month and you get canned. But in network marketing, you can be here for 10 years and not do a darn thing and nobody cares. How do we help you get to where you want to go this month? Where else does that happen? It like doesn't. I mean, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm off topic here, I don't know. But I want you to think about that as you sit here halfway through the year and say, okay, you know what? I have not gotten to where I want to go. My team is not on track to do what I needed to do. So what do I gotta do? I gotta rally my troops, and we have to do this together. Small, simple steps will get you exactly where you wanna go. I promise. There are people that can recruit their way to whatever, but it's so much easier if you just grab your team's hands and say, okay, hey, if I can help you get 2, and I can help you get 3, and I can help you get to that level of director. And if I help this person get to director, then that gets Amy to her goal of executive. And if I get 2 more executives, then I become a Ruby. It's so much easier if you just grab the hands of your people and break it down into small, itty bitty things. I talk about micro movements create a macro moment. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's how you get there. So I'm going to add on to the back end of what Kirsty's talking about planning and mapping. And I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. You guys know I like to tell stories. I have a very good friend. His name's Ed Kwaski, and pro ball player, like used to be long time ago. Right? No, he's not that old. Anyway, I love this guy. And sometimes we say things as like a metaphor, right? Well, Ed is somebody that takes things very, very literal. Like, we, this was many years ago. I don't know, 5-6 years ago. We were building a business together, and I talked to him about a one-day contract. Now, I promise this is going to make sense in a second. And I talked to him about the value of a one-day contract. So many people, I have no idea what the heck I'm talking about, but I want you to take your life, take your job, take your network marketing business, take everything that you do. And I want you to think about, what if you were on a one-day contract? You know, most sports players, NFL players, baseball players, I don't know about baseball, but I've heard it talked about with NFL, for example. You know, when they sign a deal, it's usually a 4-year contract, right? And they got that contract because they kicked some serious ass, excuse my language, right? Right, so they are like, boom, you know, and that first year, they're doing pretty good. Second year, they're comfortable. Third year, they're dragging their butts and slowing down. But fourth year, what happens? That contract's coming up for renewal. And what do? Exactly, Angie. That's exactly what they do. And my point here, guys, is that people seem to work better under pressure. All of us. It's human nature. I hate it. I hate having pressure, but Christy will tell you, I work way better under pressure. Like most of us. Tell me exactly why you are able to cram 3 weeks worth of business into the last 2 hours of the month. Not sure, but it's the pressure. We work better under pressure. So if you at your job had a one-day contract, and every day at the end of the day, you had to go sit down and look at your boss face to face, and he got to evaluate exactly how you operated for the day, would you have a job tomorrow? Think about it. Would you have a job tomorrow? But if you knew that your job, your career, was on the line on a one-day contract, how differently would your day be? How much more intent would you have with every call that you made or every person that you spoke to? How much more strategic would you be with the goals that you set for that particular job, for that particular day? Because at the end of the day, you could lose it when you sit down with your job, with your boss, and he has the ability to hire or fire you. Think about that. Put yourself on a one-day contract. So I'm having this conversation. I'm sitting in a coffee shop in Jacksonville Beach, Florida, with Ed Kwaski. And he says, dude, I got to show you something. I said, what? And he pulls out a composition book, one of those little, you know, black and white, like speckled ones that you get at Walgreens for $1. And he opens this book up. And I kid you not, guys. I kid you not. Probably 3/4 of that book, every single page was filled out in one-day contracts. He wrote himself every single day a contract, dated and signed, of how he was going to go about his day and build his business with intent. Every single day since I told him about a one-day contract. He legitimately and literally wrote himself a one-day contract. But do you think that's any different than what Christy does with blocking out her time? With what I do? I never blocked out my time. I just woke up and went about my day. Guess what? Here we are. Christy's got me planning everything, mapping out everything, writing down everything, which is the greatest thing ever because why? It makes a difference. It makes it shifts your focus. Your intent is totally different. You know, we used to talk about just going out and doing it. Just go do it. Just go do it. And I'm like, I don't even know what it is, but I get it. And she's like, it's building with intent. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. It is. It's doing whatever I'm doing with intent. And when we have our goals and we realize, oh my gosh, we're halfway through this year. Where am I at? Where's my team at? Am I where I want to be? Am I holding myself accountable? Am I taking the right steps? Am I doing what I need to be doing to get to where I want to go? Are we doing it with intent? I don't know. I think some are, some aren't. That's okay. It doesn't matter. Again, who cares what you did in the past? Who cares what you did last week or last month? Guess what? Today's today. And all we care about is how do we help you go from today to the end of the month? Or how do we help you go from today to the end of the week? Let's start there. We have weekly pay periods. Today's Monday. You have till Sunday night. You don't care what you did last week. I don't care if you didn't enroll anybody in the last 3 weeks. Who cares? What I care about is how do I help you get to your next goal? And I know that if I can help enough people, just achieve all these small little micro movements, we can have a macro moment. We can eat that elephant a lot quicker together, one bite at a time. So, sorry, I'm just winging it this morning because all my notes just went right out the window listening to Christy. And but I hope this makes sense. This is a big shift call for Christy and I. Right? We're talking about things that we normally don't. And of course I'm gonna pull in the strategic side, you know, the like step 1, step 2 thing. But I hope this is worth your time. This is your life by design, guys. You know, I encourage every single person here today, to go back through SoundCloud and listen to the first Monday call, you know, June 1st. Listen to that call today and really dive deep. Single-handedly the best call we've ever had, in my opinion, is the best call we've ever had. And I encourage everybody to go back and listen to that and sit down and take some time today. I want you to take an hour and just map things out. Let's define these goals. Let's figure out exactly what it is that we want. Let's figure out exactly what we're willing to give up to get it. Let's figure out, hey, am I willing to fail to get there? And am I hungry enough to? Do I really want this? The world's crazy right now. Christy's talking about Florida shutting down, California shut down, the world's shutting down again. Why? But, you know, are we going to let that dictate what we do and how we move forward and how we go to where we want to go? No. NAVAN's not shutting down. NAVAN's moving forward and growing and getting stronger and stronger and stronger and not missing paychecks and shipment dates. And we're working hard to get Canada on point. And I mean, guys, we are busting our behinds to make this the best opportunity for you in the most uncertain time we have ever experienced. Every single one of us on this call. This is a crazy moment that some people will roll over and just give up. And some people will say, no, not me. And we're halfway through this crazy year, and I'm very confident we are more than halfway through all this craziness, and it's going to be over. How we won't get into that stuff. Anyway, we're setting ourselves up now, guys, for a lifetime. If we choose to. So I'm going to pull this all back together right now, and I'm going to let you guys know. Well, maybe I'm not. I don't know. I think we kind of got the idea, right? We're talking about one-day contracts. I want you to think about how different from this point forward, if you take that time I recommended today and listen to that call and take that time and do exactly what Christy was talking about with SMART goals. And I want you to look at your business and say, okay, is it where it needs to be? Hey, am I on track? And I hope you can honestly say to yourself, yeah, you know what? I'm doing wonderful. I am on track. And then you know what? Let's figure out how to get you to that next level. How do we get to that next level? Grab the hands of the people around you and start helping them. Of course you want to bring in new people. Of course you want to talk to more people. Of course you want to, recruit some new people to your business. Of course you do. But grab the people around you. Start going through that. And then say, okay, I'm going to create a lot of micro movements. I'm going to take this elephant and I'm going to grab a team of people to eat this thing, not just me. And then say, okay, how differently would I build my business if I was on a one-day contract? Trey Knight is going to call me tonight and analyze my business. And I want you to ask yourself this one question. It's a question I ask myself every single day, and I'm not kidding you. Is if everybody on my team did what I did today, would anybody get paid? That is the question I ask myself every single day before I close my eyes, is if everybody on my team did what I did today, would anybody get paid? And if the answer is no, and there have been times in the past where the answer is no. And this is a whole other training we could talk about, right? Income producing activities versus busy work and all this other nonsense. My point is, I mean, there's a big difference. You know, rewriting your list 1,800 times every single day, that's not going to make anybody money. That's not going to grow your business, right? There's things that you can do to grow your business or not. And again, that's another training. But I ask myself that every single day. If everybody on my team did what I did today, would anybody get paid? And I will honestly sit here and tell you, there have been times, of course, where I'm like, no. And guess what? I have to realign my focus. And Christy talks about, she's been doing something for the last month for her team. Guess what? Nobody knows about it. Guess what? Her business is thriving. Guess what? She's growing. She's achieving her goals. Why? Because she puts that in a different category. That's not working to her. That's free time. Building something for the team. That's not income producing.
It will be when it's done.
It will be when it's done. Absolutely. But the problem is a lot of people will mistake that as work. Oh, I've been working all day. I did this thing. Oh, cool. What happened to your business? Well, nothing. I was working on this because for the future, it's going to be good. I'm like, no. See, you missed the point there. So I hope you get what I'm saying here. I hope you understand. Man, that is a cool truck, Chip. Sorry, you distracted me right there, brother. That is cool. So I want you to think about that at the end of the day. When you realign your goals, not realign, just reevaluate, and you go through things and you start mapping things out. I want you to think about that one-day contract, and I want you to ask yourself before you go to bed tonight, if everybody did what I did today, would anybody get paid? Now, I will say this. I am telling you to go do something a little off kilter, right? By, re-listening to a call, sitting down and mapping things out. Those aren't necessarily income producing activities, right? Okay, that's okay. But I'm telling you to realign everything and shift your focus to where it needs to go and analyze and truthfully analyze, like, am I on track to doing what I need to do to get where I need to go? And I know where I want to go, so I'm going to grab the hands of those around me and I'm going to get there by helping them get to where they need to go. So with that being said, Christy,
I wanted
I'm
to
all
say
done.
something real quick. So I know that I mean,
Please.
you just talked into so much, but I wanted to, we talked about SMART goals and tracking and all of these things, but if you don't have a vision, if you don't have that design in your mind, I promise you, it's just going to seem like tedious stuff. You're not going to know why you're doing it. So in January, and again, we're halfway through the year, right? So at the halfway point, I'm looking at, and this is why I write stuff down, because not only the stuff that's trackable, but like when you journal things and you actually write down your vision and you write down your why, it helps you in so many other ways. So this morning, actually, and I wasn't even planning, I'm looking through my book, right? And for those of you who don't know, this is the Rise Up Planner. I absolutely love it, but it helps you with goals and tracking and vision. So there are many things that I wanted my vision to look like the first half of the year, but I'm going to read you guys just a small, couple sentences about there's health stuff in here, there's personal stuff in here, and I am not someone that shares my goals. It makes me nervous and whatever. So I want to read something to you. So this says, again, I didn't write the exact date. It says January 2020. And this is supposed to be the first half of my 2020, right? Obviously, in January, we had no idea what the year was going to look like. But I wrote down, my NAVAN organization has grown substantially. And this is another thing. When you're writing your vision, write it like it's already happened. Write it like you're writing your biography, so to speak. So it says, my NAVAN org has grown substantially, and I'm a solid emerald close to diamond. My team is drama-free. Relationships and bonds have been formed. There's peace, camaraderie, and it feels like home. Kyle and corporate are happy with my work, and as am I. That is exactly where I am in my life right now in NAVAN. Exactly. And I wrote this in January, before Corona, before everything else is going on in our lives, right? Because I wrote the vision down. This is where I wanted to be in after June. It's exactly where I'm at. It's exactly aligning up to where it is because I'm designing my own life. I'm writing it down. I'm visualizing it. I'm writing my SMART goals, and I'm doing things on a daily basis to get me to where it is that I want to go. That is all I have to say. With that being said.
With that being said.
Have an amazing Monday, everyone. We will see you guys all on Wednesday. Reach out to us, obviously, if you need any help. Thank you, Chip, for taking us on your walk. Kyle, you have any?
No, I have nothing else to
do
say.
announcements. So this week we have new member training on Wednesday night. Trade Talks, obviously. And then our Wednesday and Friday calls. And then the Norries are on Tuesdays and Fridays as well. So
that's right. Yeah. Okay.
That's all I have to say.
That's it. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. As always, we will see you Wednesday. And have an amazing day, guys. Take care.